Guten Tag, everyone, and welcome to round 11. We are back in Teufelstal for the Liqui Moly MXGP of Germany. Now, this hard-pack track has been hosting World Championship motocross events since the 1970s, so it's a regular feature on the MXGP calendar. Tim Geiser arrives in Teufelstal having extended his lead over Maxime Renaux in the MXGP standings to 73 points in France, despite missing out on the podium in the last 3 GPs. However, Jeremy Seewer picked up his first race and GP win of the year in Ernée and will be full of confidence at a venue that has treated him well in the past. The Liqui Moly mountain dominates the track here. Let's see how they get on at the Liqui Moly MXGP of Germany.
Everybody, and welcome back to Teufelstal, the Liqui Moly MXGP of Germany, round 11 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. My name is Paul Malin. Alongside me today will be Jason Thomas from Fly Racing. We're in the east of the country, about 180 kilometres or so from Berlin. The nearest major town, we have Halle, but we also have Leipzig, about 30 kilometres away. Tony Cairoli has the most wins around this Talkessel circuit with 5, but championship leader Tim Geiser has 3 under his belt as well. And over the years, we've seen the likes of Stefan Everts and Mikael Pichon, Jeffrey Hurlings all win here. And actually, in terms of the championship, the first 4 riders in the championship standings have all won here from this MXGP class. Tim Geiser 3 times in 2015, 2019 and last year. Maxime Renaux victorious in the MX2 category last year. Seewer in 2017 while he was an MX2 rider. And Jorge Prado, a 2-time winner in 2018 and 2019. No Maxime Renaux lining up today, though. We'll see the reason why in the MXGP qualifying highlights shortly. But if you're joining us for the first time today, there's how the racetrack looks, just under 1,600 metres long, and it's hard, it's slick in places, rutty as well, because the track was prepped overnight and ripped and watered. It needed to be, because it was hot here yesterday, and the ground bakes very, very quickly, and so the riders will be mindful of what the circuit conditions will be like. Who knows, they may even throw a little bit of water down as well after that first MX2 race. Before we go anywhere, though, let's take a look behind the scenes at the Red Bull Gas Factory Racing team.
Yes, I won in Metterley, all the races, all the hole shots, everything. That was a perfect weekend for me. For sure, it cannot be always perfect. The level from Metterley, we're already higher than that, because everyone is improving. Yes, I was in the last few races for sure better, also more consistent in the front. You improve all the season long, you get better with the technique, better with the fitness. Yeah, this weekend is my home GP, but actually I'm not feeling too much pressure. I'm just trying to do my best, like in all the races, and yeah, to make a nice show, and I hope we'll be able to do this.
We found out Mattia already last year. We was talking together with him and with the KDM group. We wanted already to swap on the big class.
But then I decided to stay in the MX2 because I wanted to be on the fight for the title. After a few rounds of this year that were not going as planned, after Maggiora, we decided to change. For sure, it was a surprise also for me. I didn't expect to be so good just after a few times on the bike, and now I have more time on the bike, so I'm more confident. I can do some experience with the new bike and be ready for the next year. I'm already really happy about the speed and the race I did, so I think till the end of the season it's possible to be on the podium for one race. It will be really nice.
When he jumps on the bike, he looks really good on the 450. So we are making already many hours on the bike and prepared for next year. Our rider is really young. Simon is just turned in 18 years old. Mattia is 20 and Jorge is 21. Our future is looking really forward. Not only the riders, but also all the partners, the mechanics. The team is really fresh this year. We are ready to build a good future.
Well, this year has been a bit weird, the start of the season for me. I've been always on the podium, which was very positive, but at the same time I expected a bit better results for myself. I think I didn't perform as good as I was hoping, even if I won a GP and I've been on the podium almost every race. And then on the training, quite a stupid crash. I hurt my shoulder, so my shoulder came out and it was quite a big injury. I lost my jaw and then I came back for Sardinia and got on the podium, which was unbelievable. I didn't even think I could race that weekend. So yeah, some up and downs. I was quite consistent on the podium, but I missed a little bit taking that first spot on the top of the box. I think just one time it's not enough for me, so hopefully now we can improve and we can get some victories till the end of the season.
So a few moments ago then, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid and she caught up with a couple of riders down there. One of them who's making a return back from injury, Kawasaki Racing Team MXGP rider Romain Febvre. Before that though, championship leader Tim Geiser, Team HRC.
We're almost ready for the first MXGP race, but let's speak to our points leader, Tim Geiser. Tim, unfortunately, this morning we had the news that Maxime Renaux won't be lining up. We wish him a speedy recovery, but looking at your season, that's 99 points lead between you and Jeremy Seewer. Anything can happen, but obviously at this stage of the game, Tim, that's a comfortable place to be, and that's almost 2 GPs ahead.
Yeah, obviously I wish get well soon to Maxime. But yeah, it's a good gap, you know, but still we are just on the halfway mark. So anyway, I will give my best, you know. The goal is still the same, going out there, having fun, you know. That's the most important thing, and yeah, we will see.
Tim, usually I don't ask this, but if you could turn around and bend over, there's actually a very interesting butt patch you got going on there. I know it's your girlfriend's birthday, so I think you might want to say a few words.
Yeah, of course, I wish Spela a happy birthday, you know, it's a special day for her, and we are racing on the same date, so hopefully I can give her a good present.
Best of luck. Love those shades, by the way.
Thank you.
No, I really want to speak to Romain Febvre. We've missed him in the paddock. We haven't seen him for 6 months. Romain, you've had a long time off the bike. I think your last racing was in November last year. But you made your comeback. And honestly, not a bad showing yesterday in qualifying. P6, you must be pleased with that considering the circumstances.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the result, you know, it's something. But yeah, I didn't feel so comfortable because I didn't have so much time on the bike. And like I know here in Germany it's quite difficult to get some flow on the track, so yeah, I was struggling, but yeah, it's still okay. My speed, it's not far for sure. I have just 2.5 weeks on the bike, so it's tough. I think the toughest will be today to all the 2 moto, but yeah, I take that as a practice and then we see where we are.
How are you going to approach these first few rounds back? Is it a case of just looking at them as almost like pre-season races or something like that?
Yeah, sure. Also, it's difficult to yeah, the other are racing for like now 10 races, so we are middle of the championship, so they are like, yeah, you know, it's so easy when the rounds go every weekend and you get your flow. Me, it's not like this. I have to catch them up, so it's tough, but I will do my best.
Great to have you back, Romain. Okay, good luck to all the guys. It's time for the first MXGP race.
Riders headed out on track, led out by Tim Geiser and Paul Jonas then, and as they enjoyed that sighting lap, of course, fans getting ready for MXGP Race 1. Before we go anywhere, though, let's take a quick look at the championship standings coming into round 11. And it's Tim Geiser who holds a 73-point advantage over Maxime Renault. Jeremy Seewer 26 points further back, so the difference between Geiser and Seewer, 99 points. Jorge Prado is 7 behind him, and then we have Coldenhoff, who's in 5th place. And we've got Fernandez, Bogus, Jonas, Van Hoorbeek and Verlanderen rounding out the top 10. We'll take a quick look at the qualifying highlights then from the MXGP race yesterday. And MXGP qualifying went a little bit like this. Jason Thomas alongside me from Fly Racing. Tim Geiser got a fantastic start, and it was crucial, and it was good to see him defending that line.
Well, he looked incredible yesterday. I don't know if I would say he looked incredible on that free grid, but maybe that's what a 99-point lead does to you. Just start wearing whatever you feel like wearing.
Well, Geiser led the way, and Prado there in 4th position, almost going down, as just ahead of him, Jonas in 2nd and Evans in 3rd. And then this happened from Maxime Renault. He went straight out the front door, landed on his backside, on his coccyx, slid into the down ramp there. And as he did that, a lap later, we had Ruben Fernandez going down. But for Maxime Renault, it was a huge get-off, and he will not be lining up today. More on that in a moment. Meanwhile, Mitch Evans, who was circulating comfortably in 3rd, eventually got caught past by Jorge Prado as he moved into 3rd, around about the halfway mark, just after the halfway mark. Then Fernandez, who was making up for lost ground, made his way back past Van Hoorbeek, and then later on, around the outside, and a sweet move on Jacoby, as Seewer also found his way past Evans. That put him into 4th. This was Jacoby getting caught by Fernandez. That was for 7th place. Jacoby came home 8th. And then Van Hoorbeek tipped over from 9th, handing the advantage to Coldenhoff. Van Hoorbeek will go to the line 10th. But the 3rd time this year, Tim Geiser crossed the line to win the qualifying race. He will go to the line on pole position for Team HRC. And he did it quite comfortably as well. He came home clear of Paul Jonas, Jorge Prado, Jeremy Seewer and Mitch Evans. Fevre was 6th. That was the qualifying highlights. Obviously, riders making their way down to the gate now. Jeremy Seewer then, who was 4th position in the qualifying race, but he is effectively 2nd in the championship now because Maxime Renault, after that qualifying race, will not line up. He has fractures to 4 vertebrae in his back. Tough blow for Maxime Renault. Here's how the riders line up then. Tim Geiser goes to the line on pole ahead of Jonas, Prado, Seewer, Evans, Fevre, Fernandez and Jacoby. And as you look at the rest of the names there, Jason Thomas, Fly Racing, a massive blow for the championship and also for Maxime Renault. Big crash on that opening lap over the finish line jump. He hit a kicker on the takeoff. Straight out the front door, he landed on his backside, and obviously that impact, I think he's got 2 compressed vertebrae and 2 fractured vertebrae in the T region. He's out of the championship for sure now at the moment. Don't know how long for, but he's out.
Yeah, big blow to him, big blow to the championship. I honestly thought he was okay. He hopped up, jumped back on his bike, rode back, and obviously immediately felt like something was wrong. Just you hate to see that in his rookie season here. He'd been so good up to this point.
And the problem was, obviously, he picked himself up. The bike was damaged as well. But at that same time, he literally, probably felt like he could still ride. But a scan later last night at the University Hospital Halle revealed more serious damage. Just looking at the riders here, then we just saw Tim Geiser. There's Jorge Prado. He still knows he needs to make race wins and get on the top step of the podium if he is to have any effect on the championship standings here. But as everybody else just making their way to a few positions just closed off on the outside line there. Here's Jeremy Seewer. He is effectively 2nd in the championship now with Maxime Renault out with that back injury after that qualifying crash yesterday. The difference between Geiser and Seewer, 99 points then. Paul Jonas, standing construct Husqvarna. He lines up 2nd on the grid, and he'll be looking forward to a good start here. Everybody lining up behind the gate then, and there is Romain Fevre. Fantastic ride for him yesterday. We wondered, Jason Thomas and I, whether he'd be a little bit ring rusty, but actually circulated there in 6th place, and he did a pretty good job first time out.
Yeah, just getting his feet wet, for lack of a better term. on the start, it's interesting. Look how much room to the left as we see the Fly Racing 15-second board go up. Tim Geiser has so much room to his left. It's really going to be hard for anybody to squeeze him. I'm going to look for Prado to try to move left on him out of the gate here.
The Fly Racing 15-second board up for the first time today. Then MXGP race 1, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. The Liqui Moly MXGP of Germany here at Teufelstal. A lot of room over on the left-hand side in which to work, and another good jump for Geiser. And it's going to be Tim Geiser with the Fox hole shot here in MXGP race 1 for the 3rd time this season.
They just have such a margin for error on that inside. When you get a jump like that, it kind of doesn't matter, but it just gives you so much room to work with over there.
Jorge Prado was up on the inside, and Guadagnini ahead of him as well. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Prado. Guadagnini in about 4th place as they work their way into turn 4 here. They've got Siwa to the outside, Fernandez in there as well, but a great start for Romain Febvre on the Kawasaki, number 3. And Fernandez already moving past Prado there.
Spoke with PJ there in second before this race, and he said they had been working on the bike a lot, trying to make big improvements, so it's starting to show up. He was the quickest in the warm-up this morning.
Top of your screen, Fernandez trying to go around Guadagnini as well. He might have to wait till the next turn. He already found his way past one, gas, but then he gets run wide there. But as they hit the far corner on the racetrack, it's Geiser who leads away from Jonas. Febvre here in 3rd, Siwa in 4th, Guadagnini, Fernandez, Prado, Jacobi, Watson in 9th, and Evans in 10th.
Nice start from Febvre here. We weren't really sure what to expect from him. He had a quiet day yesterday. I thought it was fine, but this is a different conversation altogether. He's in a podium contention where this is kind of where he left off. This championship last year came down to the final moto, and I'm sure it feels good to be back in there.
Jorge Prado already found his way back past Fernandez before they hit that Liqui Moly step down. He's going after his teammate here, 101 just below us. Guadagnini, that'll be for 5th place as Siwa tries to get up the inside of Romain Febvre, who's having none of it. That cool composure still very much in evidence.
Well, and the track's in really good condition versus, the MX2, the first lap, it was really tricky. It's kind of come in now. You see it's dry, but it's predictable, which is really the most important thing they can actually push on this first lap.
Onto that plateau, actually, in front of the fans, those polished areas, they are very, very slick. You see the riders spinning up as they came into land there. But Ruben Fernandez going after the 2 gas machines of the 101 of Guadagnini, and behind him, the 61 of Prado in 6th place. Can't afford to lose too much time here, Jorge Prado. He knows he has to get those race wins, but Tim Geiser at the moment, the last 3 rounds, not being on the podium. The first one in Sardinia, you can argue that he was sick. The second one, just the back end of that sickness. But last weekend, probably no excuses, just the stupid little mistakes that he was making, silly mistakes that he was making. But yesterday in qualifying, Tim Geiser was just on a different level to everybody else.
Well, and last week, obviously, the starts really hurt him. He can't start in the back. And obviously, the one section, he just completely jumped off and got very fortunate to not run into someone else. But this has been a completely different weekend altogether. He's looked on form from the get-go, from the first lap of free practice yesterday.
I think yesterday it was a case of we mentioned it in maybe the qualifying race, didn't we? You expect him to come back firing on all cylinders, and exactly that's what he's done at the moment. Led all the qualifying laps yesterday. He's leading race 1 here by 1.5 seconds over Paul's Jonas, and he looks very, very comfortable out on this Thalkessel circuit as Febvre comes in a little bit front end too high, maybe a bit short. The intensity that he's been missing may be just in evidence there, just briefly.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be rusty. He hasn't raced since November of last year, so there are going to be, small mistakes as he works back in. He probably hasn't got as much testing on the bike as he'd like to for this season, so I'm still very impressed. I mean, he can look up and still see the race lead just up the track there.
Look how polished it is on this plateau here, where they come in not once but twice on the takeoff there, and then here the riders are slow spinning. That's hard and slick, and just a film of dust on top. Traction at a minimum at that point of the racetrack.
It is, and I still say, you prefer that versus the wet and then the hard. At least you know what it's going to do. If you know it's going to be slippery, that's fine. You can prepare for that. And you can see the aggression there, too.
Siwa looking to go around the outside of Febvre, who goes to the outside himself. And he knows that Siwa is there, and he's just going to hold his line. Doesn't need to yield any positions. He's just working his way back into fitness and saying, look, you want to come past me, you have to do it the hard way, like always. I'm not going to roll over because you're 10 rounds deep into the championship. Well, Siwa tries to go outside again, loses out to the Frenchman. But good to see the Kawasaki up there again at this 11th round.
You know, some of the lines that don't necessarily work on an MX2 bike can work. You
nicely
see that.
done from Siwa. Lent on Febvre as they went into the jump there, and then over the finish line jump. So Siwa now up into third place.
That was a really unlikely move there. I think it caught Febvre by surprise. You don't see many people lean from the outside and actually make a pass there.
So Jeremy Siwa with clear track ahead of him, but he's about 2.5 seconds behind Paul Jonas on the standing construct. Hasvana looked like he just landed a bit awkwardly there. The number 91 kept it upright though.
I want to see if a few of the lines that we saw in the MX2 class that weren't working, maybe they will work on the 450. These bikes have so much more torque and can get back up to speed so much more quickly. Maybe some of the insides that we saw passes try to be made will work on the bigger bike.
Jacoby just there, number 29, the JM Racing Honda rider at his home Grand Prix in blue. He's got Mitch Evans behind him, teammate to Tim Geiser, Team HRC. These two fighting over 8th place at the moment. And then just behind them, Coldenhoff, who's in 10th and 9th in the qualifying race yesterday for the Hoff. Obviously didn't look as comfortable here yesterday as he has done over the last 3 rounds.
Well, and you spoke of Mitch Evans there. You know, we got a chance to spend a couple minutes with him before the race, and the typical conversation you have with a racer midway through the season, you know, what hurts, you almost are looking for what feels good and what doesn't hurt at this point. It's just always nagging injuries for these guys, and most of the time they don't complain about it, but that's just the life of an MXGP series.
Prado looking to get the better of his teammate Mattia Guadagnini, who was drafted in Sardinia just 4 rounds ago, having decided that there's no point chasing the MX2 title, which was the goal at the start of the year, and we also heard it in the team report a moment ago. But Prado, desperate to find his way past his Italian teammate. Does he let him go? Does he, Eck? Keeps him back there, makes the Spaniard work. Tries to go around the outside this time, and he does. So Prado alongside. Brave move that to move into 5th place.
See Prado leaning on him. That's frustration there. You see Guadagnini didn't appreciate that at all. Makes the pass back. Prado is going to be absolutely fuming now, and I can understand Mattia being upset too. No one likes to be squeezed going up the jump face.
I think we'll see a replay of that imminently, but a frustrated Jorge Prado there at the moment, who is struggling to find his way past Guadagnini. He was briefly into 5th place, but the Italian responding.
I always find these inter-team dynamics interesting because Jorge certainly feels like the alpha on this team, but Guadagnini doesn't care about that. Guadagnini's trying to make a name for himself in MXGP, so there's a lot of push-pull between who feels like they should be the lead rider in this race right now.
We'll probably see it towards the end of the lap here, or the start of the next lap, that passing opportunity and the retake. But mixed emotions down there. And it'll be interesting to see what the pit board says as well. I'm not sure on my Italian or my Spanish at the moment, but either way, it'll be entertaining for those who do understand as Prado gets alongside, or tries to get alongside, Mattia Guadagnini, this time here on lap 4. Febvre just holding his own there in 4th position at the moment for Kawasaki Racing Team. We saw this a lap ago. Prado on Guadagnini, gets alongside him again almost as they hit the Liqui Moly Mountain. Guadagnini knows he's there, and he goes up to the inside again, protects his inside, and this time trying to give him a little bit of roughshod there.
Watch Prado cut underneath here, and he's not going to be able to cut back. That was nice. Guadagnini was prepared for it.
Easy move around the outside that time around, and he doubles that hole. Not many riders getting over that, and almost immediately finds his way past Febvre as well. All of a sudden, Prado has found another gear. The run down towards the finish line. Hangs a little bit too long there, but is he going to move up the inside in this next corner? He should do if he can spook Febvre, but Febvre holds his line. Febvre's still 4th.
Yeah, nice job of Jorge by staying low there. Just didn't make the move, but he needs to use this momentum. He's come up on Febvre really quickly, caught him by surprise. He needs to go by him. He doesn't want to get stuck like he was behind Guadagnini for several laps.
Give you a quick rundown as Tim Geiser sets the fastest lap of the race here, 150.6. He already has 4 seconds over Paul Jonas. Siwa 2.6 behind the Latvian, and then we have Febvre here in green for Kawasaki. The Red Bull Gas and Prado, his teammate Guadagnini in 6th. Hernandez for Honda 114 Motorsports, and then Jacoby, JM Honda Racing, Evans, Team HRC, and the Monster Energy Yamaha of Glenn Coldenhoff. Then we've got Watson in 11th. Tixier is in 12th place for JT911, beaten on the F&H Kawasaki. For Landren, Gavin van Venrooy, Yamaha down in 14th, head of Van Donnick. On the Riley Jumbo Racing, Yamaha, Tom Cock, Bogas, Patrell, Goal, and Monticelli.
So I'll ask you, Paul, what's the right approach there? If you're Jorge, you're gonna, after the race, you're gonna go, listen, it's inevitable that I'm gonna pass you, Mattia. Let me by so we can both work forward. But if you're Guadagnini, you're racing. You're a racer. Why are you gonna let anybody pass you? I just don't know what the right approach is. I guess you just, if you're the team manager, you just let him sort it out on the racetrack.
I think when he gets back, he'll soon find out next time that happens at the moment, because Prado, who is only 7 behind Jeremy Seewer in that battle for 3rd place, let's say at the moment, because Maxime Renault is still going to hold 2nd in the championship after this first race, unless, well, even if Seewer wins the first race, you know, he's still going to be behind him in the championship battle. Fernandez around the outside of Guadagnini. Guadagnini denies him on the exit here, but going back to that chat, he'll probably say, look, you've got to yield because we still have a chance at the World Championship. Fernandez down the inside of Guadagnini, takes over 6th position and makes it stick as well over the finish line jump.
Yeah, I think you have to be torn a little bit. If you're Davide De Carle, of course you want to see the fire from Guadagnini, just not against your other marquee rider. That's just a really tough predicament. It's tough to tell a racer, hey, you need to move over.
You need to move over, but at the same time, you know, we're second half of the season now. Guadagnini has just come into it. He is 20th in the championship, having just done 2 rounds. Didn't ride in France a week ago because he had a big crash in the free practice session. And so as a result of that, you know, he's come in here. All he has to prove is that he can ride a 450 and that he can build for next year and be a threat next year, of course. But whilst you've got Jorge Prado, who is effectively 3rd in the championship at the moment, by the end of the day, let's say, maybe even 2nd, that's the bigger picture, because Gas KTM Group Husqvarna, you know, in terms of the championship, what we've seen over the last 10 years with Cairoli, with Hurlings, Prado winning MX2 World Championships, and Jonas and all those guys, KTM's success has been diminished this year, and they're hurting from that, so they need to work together as a team.
Yeah, I fully agree. And speaking of Jonas, he's looked really strong here. He's been kind of building all the way through. He didn't have a lot of preparation coming into the season, had a completely new motorcycle to work through. You could see the progress, right? You've seen it all weekend. You've seen him look, well, I spoke with him, he was just much more confident than he had been, and that's translating into results on the racetrack.
Is Jeremy Seewer closing in. It was about 3/10 last time around, and we saw how well Jeremy Seewer rode in France a week ago. He found his way to the lead with a couple of laps ago when he won the first race, and then obviously he backed that up with a 2nd place finish as well in race 2. And of course he passed Prado to win that first race in France a week ago, so he'll feel confident here that he can at least move into 2nd place with a move on Paul Jonas. But the standing construct Husqvarna rider, we know he's a very stubborn character. He's not going to give up positions easily, and he's going to make Seewer work for every single point and that 2nd place. Looks good though at the moment. Paul Jonas, he said, had 1 or 2 little issues earlier on in the year, but he's managed to ride through them, and he has been on the podium. So he'll be looking to do the same again today. But MXGP is a tough class, isn't it?
Yeah, it's deep. I mean, you don't get a good start, you find yourself, you know, in 5th and 6th place like Jorge Prado, when you could just as easily be at the front. I was kind of watching Jonas's body language here to see if he was riding tight or anything. He looks really aggressive. So if Seewer is going to make a pass, he's going to have to work for it, because PJ doesn't look like he's under duress at all right now.
Tim Geister looking good at the moment here, and Tim Geister, after the qualifying race yesterday where the track was in a worse state than it was now, actually said, and we thought he was joking, track was actually really nice, had a lot of fun and everything else, and he's doing exactly the same here today. He's a 3-time winner of the Grand Prix here at Teufelstal, and at the moment, with a 7-second advantage with 16 minutes to go, he'd be a brave person to bet against him making it 4 wins here in Talcastle.
Yeah, the scary part is he doesn't look like he's really trying. You know, without Febvre in full form, without Jeffrey Hurlings here, Renault hurt, you don't even know what level of effort he's really at, because it certainly doesn't look like he's having to pull in full effort right now.
Good to see Romain Febvre here, though, still occupying that 4th place, but for how much longer? Jorge Prado, 2-time world champion behind him from MX2, of course, just taking that outside line, doubling in, carrying that momentum around the outside, just runs it a little bit too wide, though.
I'd like to see if Prado could make that double and then cut to the inside. I think that would be the ideal line. But
they have been able to over the years, but I just think with braking bumps and those deep ruts, whether it's just not effective at the moment. Prado looks to go down the inside of Febvre. Not going to find a way through there, though. It looked like he was off track there as well. Oh, not quite. Manages to pull it back. Thought it was the Benetton line from the first lap of MX2.
If you're not careful, that outside will go away, and you'll find yourself dealing with flagmen very quickly.
alongside the jump. Anyway, he regroups. Febvre just looking nice and smooth, as we expect. What a fantastic end to the season last year, though. In in Antwerp, obviously, Fevre's recollection of it will be slightly different to Jeffrey Hurling's, for instance. But for us, as neutral, it was a fantastic final round, wasn't it? Two riders going into the final race tied on points, and the racing, the atmosphere was just absolutely intense, and just fantastic to see Fevre out there again. Well,
it was just kind of a renaissance year for Fevre to kind of get back to his very best form. As a multiple-time, world champion. And we really hadn't seen that for a while. Hadn't seen him really be able to go toe-to-toe with the best, and he was every bit ready to battle for the world title last year.
And actually, despite not racing for 6 months, his bike setup already seems on point. He's got good power, good pace, traction's good, looks like it's handling. He doesn't look like a guy who's only been on a bike for 2.5 weeks.
Nah, this is really impressive. You look at the guys just ahead of him and just behind him, and these guys are, around 11. Like these guys have a lot of momentum. Their base fitness is there, their bike settings are there, and Fevre's been able to jump right back in with them.
8 laps complete. Tim Geiser, fastest lap of the race again at 150.3. He was already 7.9 seconds clear. It's now just over 8 between him and Jonas Siwa. Another 2 seconds further back. But Jonas and Siwa both setting their fastest laps of the race, so those two are trying hard to outsmart each other. And Siwa said last week that he actually found like the missing piece, the missing part of the puzzle in terms of his bike setup. He said he's been struggling a little bit here and there, but he got a third at the opening round at Matterley Basin. He got second overall at Maggiora. He came away with the victory a week ago in France. So whatever it was that's made him click this last couple of weeks or so seems to be working again here in Germany.
Yeah, and it's interesting, these guys test and test and test, and the Yamaha really hasn't undergone all that many changes, and then you find something in the middle of the season randomly that changes the results entirely. So it's always interesting how that works.
Henry Jacobi, handful of clutch there as he landed upon the plateau and then into the bank. Obviously keen to impress. The rider in 9th position at the moment, home Grand Prix, comes from this region as well, this part of Germany. So would really, really love to do well. So far this year, Jacobi has been 11th overall on 2 occasions, round 3 Argentina and then round 6 Latvia. He was 12th a week ago in France. And at the moment, he's sitting in 9th position in this race. So can he get a best overall result? He's obviously had a couple of good results. Well, 4th in race 1 in France and then didn't score in race 2. So has experienced life in the top 5. Mistake there from Prado, just a little bit off balance as he continues to pursue Romain Fevre for that 4th place. But as we've seen on so many occasions this year, and obviously before Tim Geiser didn't make the podium the last 3 rounds, 10 race wins in 14. Definitely back to his dominating self.
Yeah, hopefully he can save some energy here. Get a replay of Prado.
So this is Prado a moment ago, just gets a little bit cross-rutted and then all of a sudden they're off balance, and then didn't cost him too much time, but just a warning sign.
Just kind of watching Prado here, coming under some heat from Fernandez, which is not what he wanted at all. He would have loved to be around Fevre. Be interesting to see. Fernandez, one of the most aggressive riders on the racetrack, and those two things don't really mesh well. Prado, who won't take kindly to a pass by Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez is definitely on the charge, isn't he? 3/10 quicker than Prado last time around. And the Honda 114 rider, we saw yesterday how good he was in terms of the qualifying race. He had good pace, a mistake there though when he came into land, but he was pretty good all around the racetrack here yesterday.
Now this is what can happen when I mentioned earlier that Prado needed to use that momentum to get around Fevre quickly. If you don't do that, you can fall into the trap of falling into Fevre's pace, and he's almost losing Fevre's pace now. That's the danger of getting trapped behind someone, and then Fernandez comes up behind you and you have a whole different slew of problems to deal with.
Yeah, playing perfectly into the hands of the Honda 114 rider, number 70. But he then also needs to get onto the rear wheel and find his way past Prado, or the same scenario is going to happen for him as well, where he just gets caught chasing the wheel and not really doing anything about it. All of a sudden, these three pretty much equidistant. Febvre third, Prado fourth, fourth, fifth and sixth for these three guys. It's a nice line there, good speed, but you can see how smoother it is into the outside. You see those ruts on the inside there, making it difficult probably to get it stopped.
Yeah, maybe that was a little bit of a wake-up call for Prado there. Looks like he has a little bit of intensity back in his riding now. He's kind of getting just lulled to sleep, I think. And you see he already closed the gap back down just a tiny bit, pulled away from Fernandez again.
So Romain Febvre, Kawasaki Racing team owned by Kimi Räikkönen, of course, Formula One world champion. He'll be keen, probably watching this at home if you are. Hope you're enjoying the show, Kimi, because Febvre putting the Kawasaki up there in the top 5 at the moment at the very first attempt. He's there in 4th position. Doesn't look like he's troubled too much by what's going on around him. Just settling into his own rhythm. And that's a sign of a real champion, isn't it?
Well, he's been there and done it, right? He knows the strength and weaknesses of all these guys, too. Really, the only thing holding him back was how strong is the leg, what's his base fitness like. But at this point in the race, he doesn't look like much is holding him back at all.
Yeah, just minding his own business and just building as the race goes on. We can question when you've been off the bike for 6 months and you've only been riding for 2.5, 3 weeks. But when you get back into the racing side of things, having to throw yourself into a one-lap dash for time practice, all those things, arm pump and things like that, just race fitness. But seems to be dealing with everything in his stride and no such problems. Here's Jeremy Seewer. He is still in that 3rd place. But he's got some ground to make up. Jonas ahead of him. That gap now going out, 3.2. So the standing construct Husqvarna rider has found another gear, and he's just getting the better of Seewer at the moment on that Monster Energy Yamaha. Watch this here, back end, just catching a hard edge. You won't think too much of that, though. It always looks worse.
Yeah, it's standard Seewer, too. There's zero lack of trying for this guy. He's one of the riders I like to cheer for because you can always tell just how much of his heart he's putting into his riding. Not to say guys like Febvre and Prado and these guys, but it's just not it. You don't see it as much in their riding.
Well, as we go down to Kawasaki and talk to Antti Pyränen in a moment, Calvin Volander out to 13th for Kevin Van Benrooy. Jed Beaton has been passed by the South African. The FNH Kawasaki now in 14th place. See, we're looking good in 3rd. But let's go down to pit lane. Here's Antti Pyränen.
Antti Pyränen, we've seen Febvre return to racing. Yesterday he was P6. Today he's running in 4th. Did you expect this form so soon?
To be honest, not so good. Roman is a very great rider, experienced, and obviously he has improved during the week and every session, feeling more comfortable. But to run 4th, 3rd, you know, is unbelievable. So great job.
I know when I spoke to Roman and yourself at the beginning of the weekend, you said it's just a case of riding into fitness. But honestly, he looks like he's pushing out there and he's trying to be competitive.
Yeah, actually, he told to me that he don't feel 100%, which is normal. But anyhow, his normal level is so high that even with this lack of racing, you know, he's still capable to be up there. So it's gonna be good.
It's great to have you guys back. Thank you.
Yeah, Romain Febvre looking very, very good indeed at the moment. And good to see Ben Watson there, circulating in 11th position. Watson 12th in the championship at the moment. 8th and 9th in France a week ago. He got a 4th in race 2 in Italy earlier on in the year at Maggiora. And so all of a sudden, I wonder if that result from Ben Watson maybe just releasing the pressure a little bit, having the #1 guy back.
Well, I'm sure he felt way more pressure than you would like, as you see Mitch Evans make a small mistake there. But it's really tough to be the sole focus of a factory team, especially when you're early days in the MXGP class. So I'm sure he's able to just go out and do his thing, very similar to what Guadagnini's doing. All the pressure is on Jorge Prado for the championship. Mattia can just kind of ride stress-free.
Oh, and Prado down out of 5th place. So Fernandez and Guadagnini go by him. He's going to lose a couple of positions. He gets 1 back immediately. A bit of leg swag in the process as well. But Guadagnini, again, gets his elbows out and said, get back. So Prado losing 5th place. Interesting move. Did he just tuck the front in a deep rut there? Watch this here. just top of his screen, look, oh, the back end comes around on him and just puts him down on his ear. Happened so quickly as well. Fernandez ran into the back of him, and then Guadagnini tried to get by, and he did do, and he's now under pressure from Evans and Jacoby.
I just wonder what was going on with him physically or mentally, because he had lost the toe to Febvre, and then he makes a big mistake there kind of all at once. So could be fatigue, could have just, you know, kind of lost his concentration for a lap or two there, and that's usually when bad things happen.
I don't know, it's almost reminiscent of what happened in Spain when he was leading race 2, when he just stepped up onto that plateau and then all of a sudden came in either the front or the back went, and then just pitched him over. But that one was in a slow corner, but it's cost him 2 positions and put him under pressure. Where are we looking now? Oh yeah, just there, just legged his way around. That was it, just the front end got away from him.
Yeah, that's just typically bad body positioning coming into the corner. Let the front tire slide because you're not far enough forward. And that's what I was kind of saying with the concentration. A lot of those things, that's not a typical Jorge Prado move. He's usually picture perfect on the motorcycle with technique, and just wasn't there.
Mitch Evans under attack from Henry Jacoby. So Jacoby in blue for JM Racing. Jackie Martin's racing, of course. Jackie, former 500cc world champion. Good to see his rider up there. Where is Monticelli, his other rider? He's in 19th position. He's had some issues this year, but Jacoby looking good as he goes after Evans here. We were talking to Evans before the start of the race. Just 1 or 2 little niggles here and there, obviously compensating for the wrist and then the shoulders having to work overtime. But he's feeling the heat at the moment from Jacoby. And actually, Jacoby looking good here, looking nice and aggressive. It's the first time we've seen him show a little bit of aggression around here. Looks to cut through, and no way through there, though.
Creative line.
Evans will go defensive here. Jacoby will have to go higher, but then I thought, yeah, onto this outside, it's just going to cost him time. Fans on their feet, though, for Jacoby, trying to urge him into 8th place. Prado's recovered from his fall, just starting to put some distance. Look, he's already halfway up the mountain, leaving Evans to fend off the 29. Just behind them, Coldenhoff has a good seat in the house in 10th place, but hasn't advanced further than 10th from the very first lap. Glenn Coldenhoff.
Yeah, Coldenhoff has to be frustrated. He's found himself near the podium the last 3 rounds, and it's just not coming together today. And this isn't really a racetrack I would kind of associate Glenn doing well with, but I thought all that momentum over the last few rounds would kind of carry him forward.
No stress, apparently. Say that to the rider that's on the bike in this situation, trying to defend. 2.5 minutes to go. Jacoby looking again up the inside of Evans, who holds his firm line just through that turn. Holds on to that 8th place. Fernandez has set his fastest lap this time around, 1:51.5, quicker than the race leader and 1/10 slower than Siwa. Not an easy place to come to this, you know. Of course, the last time that the 43 was here would have been a couple of years ago. Mitch Evans didn't ride here at all, did he? 2019 he crashed over on actually coming out of this series of turns here, not these ones here, but the next left to our right, jumping up onto the plateau and hurt his back and just beat himself up when he was riding for Livy's 1:1:14. So hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Evans. I'm sure he just wants to get through this one, and he's doing a good job at the moment in 8th place.
Yeah, and he's still kind of in a rebuild process. You know, this is a rider we can see run at the front when everything is good and healthy, but it's just been one injury after another, and those are really hard to overcome because you don't gain the momentum. You don't get a fitness, you know, base to work from, and it's just more of just trying to survive the weekends and really build off of anything.
Pauls Jonas there in 2nd position. About 10 seconds down on Geiser at the moment, so not bad pace, because Geiser that time around 52.06, 51.7 for PJ. So the standing construct Husqvarna rider, looks like they put a little tough block there just towards the end of that takeoff on that city jump.
Still really impressive, though. He's, you know, running 151.7. It's only half a second off of his best lap. You know, we're about to get the 2-lap board, a couple laps out. So it's a really strong ride, and it shows that the fitness is there if you're still running that good of a pace at the end.
Yeah, his best lap, 51.1, what, 4 laps ago, 5 laps ago, something like that. But it was 51.7 that time around. So he's consistent, which shows that he is fitness as well. So here's Fernandez coming towards us at number 70. In that 5th place, 3 seconds down on Roman Febvre now. As Jonas, in that 2nd place, has control over it as well. He's 3.5 seconds clear of Siwa. So the Monster Energy Yamaha got close, tried to match Jonas the lap times earlier on. Both were going fastest lap for themselves. But it's Jonas who's managed to hang on. Last time we saw him really sort of like in these top 2, top 3 positions was at home in Latvia, where he got 2 second-place finishes and got himself 2nd overall behind this fella, Tim Geiser, who is in control in the lead in this first MXGP race.
Yeah, just out for a Sunday cruise. He really hasn't had any pressure the entire race. This is about the biggest battle he's been in right here with back markers. So after a rough few weeks, this is exactly how you draw it up. No stress, get the starts, you know, you have the pace, and yeah, this is why you have the red plate.
And look at the championship, 4.63, and Maxime Renault 3.65, of course, so that gap almost 100 points. Siwa, oh, it is 100 points, 102 points. Siwa 3rd.
I think this was the no stress pit board that they were looking for. I think they just gave it to the wrong guy.
104 over Siwa, who is in 3rd. So from that side, we said that Siwa effectively starts the day 2nd overall in the championship, because from that side, you know, a costly day for Maxime Renault. But look at this. Jacobi all under attack now from the late charging Glenn Coldenhoff. 2 laps to go. JM Racing Honda versus Monster Energy Yamaha, who holds a tighter line, drifts his way through there, chose not to get stuck in a rut. But a frustrating ride for the Hoff, you feel. Three podiums on the bounce. Maybe just a little bit off with settings, or just some people don't like coming here, you know, because it's hard, it's technical, it's tricky, it can catch you out. But as someone like Joel Smets will say, well, to be a champion, you have to win on everything.
Yeah, that's just part of it. You know, if you're going to look at Tim Geiser and Roman Febvre, how much they've improved in the sand over the years, it's the same concept. If you want to get to that level, you can't have huge liabilities anywhere.
So 2 to go. Riders in the opposite direction there. Prado, Evans, as we look at Jacobi. But Tim Geiser is just on a different planet at the moment. As you said, in cruise mode at the moment, as he takes the 1-lap board to start his final lap here at the Talkessel. Got off to a flying start yesterday. He was fastest in time practice, wasn't he? He won the qualifying race. He's leading race 1 at the moment. Things are looking good for Tim Geiser.
When you watch him ride, he just does everything right. You know, he comes in the corner, he kind of stays off the brakes, he lets the bike flow through the corner, picks up the throttle, you know, late in the apex, but he already has so much momentum, he doesn't really need to apply that much throttle. It's just exactly how you'd want to attack a track like this.
Yeah, and his bike setup, I mean, even when he's not riding well, rider and machine do work very well. The thing looks solid, it looks planted. You know, it's got a very low end kind of sounding to it, like just very grunty. He's hardly on the gas, but the thing is so strong.
Yeah. He doesn't have to really build RPM, because when he rolls that throttle on, he's gone.
And when you have 7.5 seconds, you can afford to take different lines, be a little bit more selective just there, minimize those mistakes. And even at this late state of the race, when he is backing it off, he can still be quicker with that smoother line selection.
When you watch days like this and you wonder, how does he have those days where he has the huge crashes? They seem to come out of nowhere. He'll be riding just like this, everything going perfectly, and then it'll be on his head. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, you know, how are you going to criticize a multi-time world champion who's, again, going to be 100 points up in the lead again?
Yeah, and is obviously chasing that 5th title this year. And we've already said it. I mean, there's no denying it. Obviously, in terms of the championship chase so far this year compared to what we've had over the last year, you know, completely different in terms of what we're experiencing. But Tim Geiser will take it. Team HRC will take it. It's going to be another win in the books for the HRC rider. And Tim Geiser, for the 11th time this year, heads down towards the finish line and takes victory here in race number 1 in Germany. And he does it by a country mile as well. Paul Jonas, standing construct, will be second on the Husqvarna. Jeremy Seewer, Monster Energy Yamaha, third, about another 6 seconds further back. And then we wait for Roman Febvre. Fantastic for Febvre to finish 4th in race 1 on his comeback ride. Fernandez will cross the line in 5th place. But as you can see, it's pretty tight here. Febvre just hanging on. And he will hang on. A solid 4th place in the books and shaking out that left hand, so a little bit of arm pump maybe in the latter stages, and the head drop there, a telltale sign that there was a lot of effort in that race, even though he still looked silky smooth.
Yeah, 7 months away from racing, what do you expect? He's only going to get better from here.
Of course he is. But there'll be some sighs of relief down there at Kawasaki Racing Team. Finally, their number 1 guy comes back, puts it in the top 5, first race back, probably against all expectations, but secretly confident maybe that there would be a top 5 result here. Who knows? But Antti Pyränen playing it down during the pit chat. Roman Febvre playing it down as well during any interviews. But solid points on the board for Febvre. But it's Geiser who wins race 1 here in Germany in convincing fashion. Rest of the riders coming in. Lorenzo Locosio, JD Gunek's KTM, picking up points as well. He's had some misery this year as well, shoulder injuries and humerus injuries that aren't that funny, obviously, but he will pick up those points.
Yeah, wonder what happened to Bogers there in 17th. He's been on fire lately. He was sick last week, but yeah, expected better than 17th for sure.
Maybe just carrying the after effects of sickness, Brian Bogers, but he'll bounce back. Of course, they've got a weekend off after this one, and then we go to Indonesia, which is not an easy place to go to with the heat, the humidity as well. Brand new track for everybody, so that's going to be an interesting trip over there in the next couple of weeks. Tim Geiser, though, victorious in race 1 by just under 6 seconds over Paul Jonas. Hopefully he's getting ready to speak to Lisa Leyland. But for the 11th time, here he is. And I wonder if he gets his helmet off super fast like he did yesterday. Watch this here, the magic button. Tim Geiser is already ready.
Tim Geiser, you were in cruise control for pretty much all of that race. You made it look easy out there. You were definitely back to your old self.
Yeah, I was enjoying a lot. The track is really nice. I took a good start, I took a whole shot, and then make a little gap and control the race. The track on some places is quite sketchy. It's easy to make a mistake, so you have to be focused until the checkered flag. But anyway, super happy. Hopefully we can do in the second one the same.
Good luck for the second race.
Tim Geiser all smiles then after winning race 1 here, his 11th race win of the season, and we're just at the halfway point. 98 points clear of his nearest rival, Maxime Renault, who is sitting this one out, and we don't know how many more he has to sit out either with those back injuries from yesterday's qualifying crash. But he made this start, turned a good start into 25 points. Tim Geiser in control. Jason Thomas, impressive form from Geiser.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. They let him get a start like that again, and you're probably going to see the same results. He's just firing on all cylinders right now.
So Tim Geiser then, let's take a quick look at the race results then. Winning comfortably over Paul Jonas. Seewer third, Febvre back from injury in 4th, then Fernandez, Guadagnini, Prado and Evans rounding out the top 8. Jacoby 9 and Coldenhoff 10. Behind them, Jordi Tixier, Calvin Vallarant, Ben Watson, Jed Beaton and Van Donnick, Benoit Paturel, Brian Bogers, Tom Cock, Lorenzo Locosio and Ivo Monticelli. Take a look at the highlights from that first race then, shall we, before we go anywhere. An intense race. MXGP race 1. Gate drop over on that far side. Look at the gate from Tim Geiser, his 3rd Foxhole shot of the campaign. He led through the first turn. Prado was tight to the inside. He was about 7th or 8th as he head up the hill. Over on the right-hand side there, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fernandez just around the outside of him. The 91 of Seewer ahead of him. But crucially, his teammate ahead of him as well. Seewer got the better of Roman Febvre to move into 3rd. The Frenchman probably not expecting that move. But this was an interesting battle, wasn't it, Jason?
Yeah, this was probably one of the more frustrating motos of the year for Prado. He finally makes the move, then makes his own mistake and gets stuck behind Guadagnini again all the way to the end. Just not what he needed as far as the championship goes.
When he did go through, it was for 5th place. He went after Fevre, but the Frenchman proving very stubborn. Meanwhile, the 17th of Fernandez got good driving speed. He found his way into 6th with that move on Guadagnini. And then here, left of your screen, Prado just throwing it away. 5th place, gone. And he ended up in 7th place.
Yeah, you can't make mistakes like that. Not when guys like Sewer and guys who are being this good. You have to be perfect.
Mitch Evans managed to hold on to 8th from Henry Jacobi. Jacobi in blue around the outside.
+0, no stress. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
And Paul Jonas hung on to a fantastic 2nd, despite Sewer trying to go with him earlier on in the race. Sewer came home 3rd, Jonas was 2nd, but Tim Geiser for the 11th time this season picking up the win in race number 1 here in Germany. And of course he has a massive lead in the championship now as a result of that. Take a look at the foxhole shot, and yeah, for Tim Geiser, a perfect day so far. Three black plates now for the season for Tim Geiser. No wonder he's all smiles over there. And I tell you what, he looks a little bit better than he did when he took the black plate in Sardinia after that first race win. And of course, happy birthday, Schwelle. That's what she's getting for birthday. And Tim, you can give her her glasses back now as well. Please. Leave them behind in the pre-grid interview next time. Cheers, thanks. Well, look, that was MXGP Race 1, and of course, we'll see some of the best moments from it. Yeah, some good racing here. There's some frustrated riders out there as well. Take a look at the best moments, though, shall we? And Jason Thomas, before we disappear for our 1-hour break, the tension from some of the riders, you know, soon dissipated as the gate dropped. For others, it kicked in. But Tim Geiser was a man on a mission, making up for lost time and lost podiums over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The track's going to be a lot tougher. This second time around, it's going to be much closer to the conditions we saw yesterday, and how will these guys react to that?
Well, Jorge Prado will go and have a word with himself after just a little mistake there. Cost him 5th and maybe even a shot at 4th, certainly 3rd maybe. But they're the kind of mistakes that he says himself he needs to get rid of if he is to challenge Tim Geiser for this championship.
Yeah, it's slowly slipping away. You know, and if anybody wants to challenge him, they're going to have to absolutely be perfect, or they're going to need a huge mistake from Geiser.
And even though he had a tussle with his teammate, Mattia Guadagnini showing good form on that 450 at the moment in not very many rides.
I don't know if they're going to be celebrating that too much over at the Red Bull Gas truck, but certainly he deserves some praise for how well he rode that moto.
But certainly the man to beat at the moment is Tim Geiser. Whole shot, race win, extending on the point lead, victorious here in race 1. Tim Geiser, can he do it again in race 2?
Yes.
JT has spoken. We're going to take a break. Just over an hour, we'll be back for MX2 Race 2. And then, of course, the final race of the day, MXGP Race 2. My name's Paul Malin. Thanks to Jason Thomas from Fly Racing for joining us. And we'll see you the other side of the break. See you then. Bye for now.